Welcome to Mondays with Coach Rice. It's a brand new week, the sun's shining bright. A chance to cast your net, step into the light. Life's full of challenges, it's a winding stream. But with Coach Rice, you'll find your dream.
Well, happy Monday and welcome to Casting the Net, where we care about your mental health and well-being, as well as your physical health and well-being. I am super excited. I have an amazing guest. I cannot wait to dialogue with. You know, I always have amazing people. So if you hear me say that, I mean it because I dialogue before we have the interview and learning more about them. And I just want to introduce you to Karen Cerezo. She is a certified health coach and fitness trainer. And Karen, tell us, where you're from and how did you embark upon this journey?
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm so excited to be here. So thank you for having me. I actually started out way back in the day as a middle school teacher, and I loved teaching. And then I decided I didn't love it as much as I used to. And so I left the classroom about 8 years ago. And at that point, I was already doing health coaching. So it was the perfect transition because I was still in that education type environment. And so it didn't feel super off to kind of transition towards that direction. So I was health coaching, and I was also working for a fitness company, doing outdoor fitness boot camp style kind of classes. And then about 6-7 years ago, I guess it's been like 7 years now, I started going through my own perimenopause journey and was really struggling to find answers and understand what was going on with my body. And anybody I talked to had zero idea. I didn't even know it was perimenopause until I started telling my mother all of these issues I was having, from my eyesight changing to joint pain, severe fatigue, brain fog. I didn't even know really what I was going through. I just knew that I was really struggling with these workouts, and I was noticing the women around me as I was training them were struggling. So as I'm having this conversation with my mother and I'm literally telling her head to toe all the issues I'm having, she says, "It sounds like you're in perimenopause." I had no idea that there were 3 separate stages of menopause. I just thought, okay, menopause, the TV jokes about hot flashes, and then apparently my cycle goes away and my skin dries up and I'm over it. And that I learned was not it at all. So about 7 years ago is when I really dove into focusing just on perimenopause and being kind of a menopause mentor, and helping women navigate this new season. Like, what questions to ask? How do I work with my changing body? What treatment options are available to me? So that's really what I've been focusing on for the past 7 years.
A lot of people think of menopause the same way. It's just hot flashes, dry skin,
Yes.
and no menstrual cycle, and you're over it. But there are so many other parts. So when you say you were struggling in your weight loss journey and your fitness journey, what type of things were you struggling with that's related to menopause?
Right, specifically to my my fitness and my health, in that small, because there's so much. I mean, obviously, like, I was struggling with sleep and brain fog, but just with regard to, okay, what about my workouts? I was training for half marathons, and all of a sudden I was struggling with endurance. It was so hard for me to run just even a mile, where, previously I was running 13 miles straight, which I think about it now is insane. I don't know that my body could do that right now. The joint pain was ridiculous. I've never had knee pain before. And all of a sudden I was struggling with that. And I know that's a lot of people have knee pain, so they probably don't even notice it. I never had it before. And so all of a sudden that was new. My fingers were constantly hurting. Holding 20-pound dumbbells, the most I could lift was 8 pounds. And as a personal trainer and as a health coach, I had gained 30 pounds. And everybody's like, "Oh, it's an exaggeration." No, I was at my lowest. I tell everybody I had Instagram worthy abs. Like, I put pictures of me up in half shirts on Instagram with abs. I would not dare to do that today. And so I'm looking at myself like, wait a minute, nothing has changed. I'm still doing all of the things that I was doing before, and now they're not working. And if anything, it's going in reverse. And so that was a real challenge for me to try to figure out what in the world is going on. And so finally I talked to my doctor, and I was very lucky to have a doctor that took me serious and gave me assistance right away. And so I was able to get on hormone replacement therapy, and that helped right away with my workouts. Did not help with the weight gain, but I also learned I had issues with thyroid, which is another common thing that women will experience going through perimenopause issue. And so I went on thyroid medication. That helped a little bit, but it is still has been a challenge.
Wow. And it happens so much, and we're thinking we're doing something wrong.
Right. Yeah.
When the weight loss is going in reverse. And we're trying to do and we working out, and we like, wait a minute, how come I'm not getting results? What's going on with my body? Now, was it with the hormone therapy that you received from your doctor? Was it that and nutrition and fitness that you had to change, or what changes did you have to make with the hormone therapy?
I actually did change. I don't want to say I changed quite a bit, but I definitely made small tweaks. So with regard to, let's look at the fitness side of it. On the fitness side, I really had to slow down high intensity workouts. I had to quit doing these long cardio runs that was depleting my energy. I had to quit doing short interval blast that was skyrocketing my blood sugar level and putting me in that stress zone. It's good for our body to be in that stress zone, right? That's good to have a little bit of stress. It elevates the heart rate, and then we bring it back down, and our body works really hard to bring it back down, and that's good for our heart health. What happens in menopause or perimenopause is our blood sugar levels are going so erratic. And so our stress hormones are already chaotic. And so then we're adding this additional stress. So what I tell women is don't cut out HIIT workouts or intense cardio workouts, but definitely minimize them. So instead of doing maybe 3 times a week, I might do 2 weeks. And then the other times I'm doing different style workouts. So that was one component, is to kind of reduce the amount of high intensity workouts. So instead of running or doing sprints, now I walk my dog. So I'm still getting the cardio. It's still good for my heart health. Instead of doing, short HIIT workouts at the gym, I went more strength training, and I added in Pilates. And both of those, we want the strength training for a couple reasons. One, we are losing muscle mass at a faster rate as we age. And 2, our bone density is decreasing as we age. So when we do strength training, resistance training, working with weights, bands, body weight, we are helping build or restore the muscle that we did have. The more muscle we have in our body, the more energy our body is using to fuel it. So muscle needs more food, than fat does. So the more muscle I have, the harder my body is working, which is a good thing. That means my metabolism is speeding up. So having muscle is good for our metabolism. Plus, it's just good for our overall, living a healthy, high quality life as we get old. Same with maintaining our muscle mass. So those were really the 2 big things. Instead of doing the long runs or the short sprints, I just moved to walking. That helps keep my blood sugar at a nice even level, helps my hormones stabilize. And then adding the strength training to build up that muscle. Now, the reason to add a Pilates or a yoga or just like a Tai Chi, a stretching, would just be for mobility purposes, balance. As we're going through, you'll notice as you're going through perimenopause, those hormones being off. Remember, those hormones are all messengers. All of a sudden, tripping becomes a thing. Like, why did I just trip out of nowhere? And it's so funny because people will start to talk about it and they're like, oh my gosh, I do that too. That is part
Do
of
that
menopause,
too.
which is, it's so weird. Like, what a weird symptom to have. But
That
we all
is funny.
know a fall, especially in your older age, could be detrimental. It could be life ending. And so
Yes.
we want to also make sure on our fitness side that we're focusing on that balance work, that stability work, and being strong so that we can just be able to do those things in our daily life.
Wow. And so, I can definitely relate to the tripping over out of nowhere.
No,
Definitely. I just chalked it up to I'm clumsy.
it's new.
Right. So tell us about, how do you help someone in a fitness journey from start to finish?
Yep. The biggest thing is looking at what are they already doing. So like if I was analyzing myself, I would have come in, said, these are all the things I'm doing, and we would have tweaked that. And then we would look at also the diet side. How are you eating? And what types of food are you eating? Because what we really need is a little bit more fiber as we age. And people are like, well, I don't understand. Why do we need fiber all of a sudden? We didn't need it before. Well, because as our hormone levels, specifically estrogen, as the estrogen decreases, it changes our gut health. So now all of a sudden you might notice, oh my gosh, I'm bloating for no reason, or I'm eating the same foods, but they're causing me to have bloat or constipation. And a lot of people, it's funny when you talk about constipation, which I know people don't really want to talk about, they're thinking like extreme, like, oh, I'm really struggling. I'm sitting on the toilet for a long period of time. It could just be that it takes a little bit longer, or it's as healthy of a bowel movement as you've had in the past. I know people don't always want to get into that, but that's definitely important. And so adding fiber to your diet, so whether it's through food or a supplement, is one way to, help with the gut health. That's also going to help decrease that bloating, that inflammation. And then really watching your blood sugar levels. As we go through this, we're going to notice that our insulin is, we could become insulin resistant. So instead of our body taking all that delicious food in and burning it as energy, now it stores it as fat. So,
Okay.
and that includes the good stuff. So, I mean, obviously we want to eat the good stuff, but we just want to make sure we're eating it spread out throughout the day. And that when people are like, oh, watch your sugars, watch your alcohol levels. It's not necessarily because of the alcohol itself. It's the sugars. It's the creams in your
Okay.
coffees, stuff like that. When we have those sugars, our body just can't process. It's like, stop. So instead of processing it, it just hangs on to it and it doesn't get rid of it. And that's where we get that blood sugar, or that's where we get that belly fat. And a lot of women will notice as they're going through menopause, their whole body composition changes. So where I'm very curvy bottom half, where I had bigger hips and a big booty, it's kind of all of a sudden moved over to my belly fats. And I'm like, wait a minute, what
Right.
happened back over here? Where did all that go? Your body is changing. Like literally the shape of your body is changing. And a lot of people think this is just a hormone thing. It's a whole body thing. Like everything in your body is affected. And so looking at your diet too. So people ask me all the time, what's the best diet? And I don't like the word diet because, as Gen Xers, we grew up with reading Cosmo or Our Mom's Good Housekeeping, or even 17
Right.
magazine was like 1,200 calories. That's all you need. Okay, well, that's not all we need, but we're so trained to diet and eat less. And so what I like to tell people is eat more. You probably need to be eating between 16 and 1,800 calories, which is really hard for a lot of us to fathom. And two, if you want to lean into a certain type of eating style, look at the Mediterranean diet. It is ideal for women in perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, because you've got a lot of healthy fats. You've got olive oils in there. You've got lots of lean proteins, fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds. It's a great one. Yes, there's even red wine. But it's a really good one to kind of look if you're going to follow a path, that would where I would
Right.
lead people. So, and I think the
Okay.
other thing that a lot of people don't understand is the sugars yes, turns into belly fat, but also because we have a hard time processing them, it affects our sleep and our brain fog. So if you're noticing, like I used to be able to have a glass of wine at night, and now all of a sudden I fall asleep fast, but I don't stay asleep. It's because your body is waking up. It doesn't know what to do with that extra sugar. So if
Okay.
for me, like now, if I have to have wine, I have to do it at like 11 o'clock in the morning. So I'm like, okay, well, this is it. This is the only time I can drink now.
How does the menopause affect women mentally? Their
Uh,
mental health, I would say that.
yeah, there's so much that goes into it mentally. So there's the again, as our hormones start to fluctuate and we go through this process, our estrogen starts to drop. The receptors, estrogen is receptors throughout the whole body. You will notice, some women, I should say, will notice an increase in anxiety. You're super anxious and you're like, I've never been anxious before, or certain events make you anxious. I had a client that was all of a sudden, she's like, I can't drive unless my husband's in the car with me. So weird.
Mm,
So, where does that come from all of a sudden? And it's just, it's this, those messengers aren't talking to each other. So,
okay.
anxiety increases, deep and depression. Women start to notice a lot of depression as it increases, and it could be severe depression. It could just be blues, mood swings back like when we were 13. All of a sudden you're crying and then you're yelling at your spouse or your dog for whatever reason, and then the next minute you're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Small
Right.
things, setting you off. But I think the other thing that a lot of people don't talk about is the minute of our confidence really changes. All of a sudden we're struggling with brain fog. And so now we don't feel as organized as we were. We don't feel, that we're able to take on tasks like we used to, maybe at our job. Our clothes fit differently because we've gained weight or our body composition is shifting.
Right.
Is low, and maybe we don't feel as attractive. Our skin is changing. We're losing that beautiful glow as everything kind of dries out. So there's all these changes, and it really does take a hit on your confidence. How can that not affect your mental health? So now you're feeling less than and wondering, does everybody notice that? And do they also think of me as being less than I used to be?
That is so true. When you're
Yeah.
going through menopause, you do. And I love this conversation because there's not a lot of people that talk about menopause.
No,
And it's
not enough.
needed because it's so confusing
It
if
is
you,
confusing.
because people don't have it sound like no one has the same symptoms, or do they really know they actually going through it?
Right.
It's just so much ambiguity around it. And so it's so good to have this conversation. So when
Well,
you
and
take on clients, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was
What were you
going to
gonna
say
say?
the hard part is not only do we not know because maybe we've never had the conversation with a family member, our moms,
Mhm.
um, whatever, our doctors learned about it in school. A lot of people don't understand that doctors only have about an hour of training with regard to menopause and women's
Ah,
health. So a lot of doctors, unless they seek additional training, they don't really know either. And they might not be up
okay.
to date on the studies because the studies are changing all the time. Thank goodness for all the health initiatives that are going on. And they might not be the expert that you need. Maybe they delivered all your kids and they were amazing, but maybe they don't know this particular season. So us not knowing what questions to ask, it's not like they're leading the conversations either because they might not know what questions to ask you or what treatment options. And so it's important for women to get educated, learn more
Mhm.
about what's going on with your body, listen to more podcasts, whatever it is. How can you have conversations? Um, Number two, ask your doctor, whoever you're seeing, do you feel like you're qualified to help me in this new season? Or do you think you should refer me out to somebody that's a specialist with hormones and women in midlife? I think that's very important to have those conversations. And hopefully your doctor is being honest and let you know that maybe I'm not the best one to help you, but I've got some people that would be ideal for what you're going through.
Okay. So it sounds like you help women with nutrition as well. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Okay. And so you put them, is it based off of their, is it personalized or is it just a generic slate?
I cannot write meal plans because I'm not a registered dietitian, but what I can do is look at what somebody is doing already and kind of see where there might be gaps with regard to maybe nutrient deficiencies that they're struggling with. And I can give them an idea of what to look for. We can also look at how many calories they need, and I can help them set that up. And I can help people definitely put together, how should I be pairing my meals? What should a breakfast look like? What should a lunch look like? And then you just kind of rinse and repeat. But as far as like individuals that want, like, here's the ingredients I like, build me a meal plan on that. I cannot, but Chat GPT probably could.
I'm sure. So what about like, do you do both together or one, they can't do one without the other? How does that work?
It's really both together. I mean, you can definitely, I have plenty of women because I do own my own fitness company now. So
Oh,
I left the outdoor boot camp company, launched my own fitness company 5 years ago. And so with
okay.
those clients, obviously they're coming thinking I'm just going to come see her for fitness. I need a new workout routine, whatever it is. But with that, we do talk a lot about how are you fueling your body before and after and weekends. And oh, you're not sleeping. Maybe it's because of X, Y, and Z. And so they really do get the whole gamut. I think a lot of people will come in with one question or thinking that they're taking it in one direction. And then as we approach it as a holistic person, which means that we're addressing everything. What is your lifestyle? What is your sleep? What is your diet? What is your cycle look like? Are you still having a cycle? How irregular is it? What blood tests have you had? What supplements are you taking? We look at all of it.
Oh, okay. And so so you have a location where your
Mhm.
fitness center is. Do you do virtual?
I do virtual, and I have a location. Well, it's not a location. We work out in the park. It's still outdoor because being outside is one of the best things for you. And
Okay.
being in Texas, you can be outside year round. It's a little hot sometimes, but um, sometimes we get snow, but which is super random. But so we are outside, which is great for your mental health. It's good to be outside and get fresh air and all. But I do work with people virtually on both just health coaching or just helping them prepare for their next doctor's visit, analyzing what kind of information they have, what they've seen with their own bodies, and then helping them and guide them basically like a mentor. Let's go through this. Let's ask your doctor this, and then get them, hopefully on the right track.
So it sounds like you walking with them on a journey.
I do. Yes. Yes.
Okay. And so when you're working with them and when you're working in the fitness, I'm amazed that you outside and it's in Texas. You must be outside in the daytime. I mean before the sun go out,
We,
right?
yes. Yeah. 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 It does get hot
Does
sometimes.
it
Like
get hot?
it does get hot. You just have
Yeah.
to, tweak the workout a little
Yeah.
bit.
That's pretty awesome. So tell I guess tell the if you could tell the audience one piece of advice, what would it be?
Mhm. I will give you the piece of advice they give it ever. It is a game changer for most women on this journey. Like I said, there's really the best way to get through this is to be educated. And that means obviously learning about what menopause is, kind of what to expect, which is a challenge because we do have, they're saying like there's 120 different symptoms that can be linked to menopause. And so that's a challenge to figure out, is it menopause? Is it my cholesterol? Is it old age? Is it stress? What is it? So I tell people, get educated about just the general topic. So get a book, whatever it is, watch a video, watch Oprah's special, whatever. Listen to podcasts. And number two, get educated about your body. And so what I was seeing is so many of my clients, like I said, were going to the doctor and they're saying, kind of struggling with this. Could it be menopause? Could it not? And so many of them were just kind of brushed off. You're too young for this. Just power through it. We'll just put you back on birth control. Give it a couple months. We'll revisit it and let's see if it's still bothering you, which is affecting their quality of life, right?
Okay.
64% of women leave their jobs because of menopause.
What?
64%.
Wow.
Insane. And so
Insane.
I tell everybody, track what you are doing. Track your workouts, track your cycle, track your sleep, track your nutrition, track your stress levels, track your blood sugar, track, trying to think of what else, track, your gut health, track all your symptoms, track the supplements that you take, the treatment options you've been given. And because so many people were running into issues, I created a tracker for women. It's called Navigating Menopause. It's on Amazon. It's got over 20 different trackers. And here's the thing is, and you can use my health journal that I created. You can just use a piece of paper. But if you go in with data, if Martha were to go in and say, listen, here are all my symptoms. This is how often I'm having them. These are the patterns I'm seeing. These are the things I think are triggering them. Help me, guide me, give me something that is going to help me minimize these symptoms. They can't argue with data, right?
That's
so
true.
If you go in armed and empowered with information about your particular body, they can't argue it. And if they do, then you know that that's not your person. You need to go somewhere else.
Right.
So that I always tell people that's your number one. Track everything, just like you do. Like, remember when we had babies, beginning of babies,
right.
and they wanted to know how often they go to the bathroom at the beginning. We tracked their stool and what type it was, and how often did they eat, and how many ounces, and did they burp after. We tracked all of that because it helped the physician decide, okay, are they progressing normally? Do we need to intervene with something? We do it with our pets. What have you seen with your pets lately? Are they doing, are they lethargic? Are they not eating, not drinking? Why would we not do it with ourselves and our own health?
Right. That's so true.
Yeah, it's and that is the most powerful thing. If you go in with the data, not only if you empowered yourself, you've totally boosted your confidence. Like, I am ready to speak about this because I know what I'm experiencing is legit. It's not in my head. I'm not just aging. I am dealing with this and I need support.
Thank you so much for expressing that. And I am shocked at that percentage of people that leave their jobs over menopause. I would never have guessed that.
Yeah. Now, and I will say,
never thought about it.
It could also be, that part of that 64% are women that are like, I'm fed up. I just want to do my own thing. There's so many of us that are like in the middle of, our 40s and 50s, and we're like, we're out.
And we're out. I'm done. I'm done. Yeah.
No, it could be that too, which I love. I love for them.
I guess menopause say you ain't got to deal with this.
Oh no, yeah.
The brain tell you that, right?
That is one of the positives. Like, you are like so over all of it. I don't care anymore.
In the hot flashes, you really don't want to deal with all that crap, right? So tell our audience how they can reach you, even though I would love to put the links in the video as well.
Yep. You can find my website. It's midlifehealthcoach.com. I'm also on Instagram. It's midlife_health_coach. And my book, Navigating Menopause, or you can just type in Karen Cerezo. Like I said, it's not a book. It's just a health journal for you to kind of track your experience. That is on Amazon. I've got tons of free resources on my website. There's blogs on there that will answer probably most of the questions that you have. And then you can always reach out to me and just book a call just to kind of see, like, where am I in this, and how can I get started?
And I like how you made a journal for tracking because
Yeah.
you can, it's like, where do I go to track? What do I do to track?
Right, right. What should I be tracking?
Right.
So,
What should I
and
be tracking?
obviously,
Right.
you don't want to track everything because you would drive yourself crazy. You really want to track what are you experiencing the most? Like, what is your biggest struggle? And go from
Right.
there.
That's true. You're right about that. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank you so much for coming
Oh,
on,
thank
sharing
you.
what you do and how you do it, and talking about menopause. Menopause definitely is something that need to be talked about more.
It does.
And so, if I'm not mistaken, you have your own podcast. Tell us about that.
I do. I don't actually have a podcast. I have
Okay.
a YouTube video. I'm in. Am I in the works? I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking about it. I've been thinking about it for
So
a
you
while.
have
But
YouTube videos. Tell
I
us
do
about
have a
that.
YouTube videos that do talk a lot about what we've been talking about, menopause in general. I try to bring in special guests and just talk about things that are related to menopause and how other health modalities, what advice they give. I have a great one that just came out with menopause hormone replacement therapy and GLP-1s. So
Okay.
that was an
Oh,
interesting topic.
that do
Um,
sound like an interesting one.
yeah. So there's a lot of good videos on there. And that's
Okay.
again, it's just my name.
Okay. Okay. It's nothing where you just turn the camera on and help people that way,
Yep.
right?
We just talk. Yep.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And so, do you have anything exciting going on in the future that you would like to tell us about, if any, or I just don't want
Uh,
to leave out anything.
yeah, I'm trying to think. I've got a lot of speaking engagements going on, places where I'm talking about my book, so local bookstores.
Okay.
We are hosting a women's wellness event in June that I'll be speaking at, and I'm actually running it. So this is my first one to actually run myself.
Okay.
And we've got a nurse practitioner that's going to be with us and a pelvic floor specialist. So it's really cool to bring all of that together because there's so many components to this. And there's
Yes.
so many people in your circle that can really make life better for us, but we just need to know who they are and how we get to
Right.
them. And then my goal is to hopefully host a larger one in January.
Is this an in-person or virtual?
It is in person for the smaller one, but I'm thinking we want to do a virtual one for the bigger one. So
Okay.
that's part of my big dreaming stuff.
Okay. I'm sure you would put it together and that'll be nice. It's going to be in Austin, I'm sure, right?
Yes,
The one
yeah,
that's
it'll be in
coming
the
up.
Austin area.
And is it free? Does it cost? What's the
It is free. The one that we're doing in June is free. I don't know about the
Okay.
January one yet. I think that's what's so cool about this time period is so many women are like, oh, I want to do something more. My kids are grown and I'm kind of changing in my career. I'm kind of like antsy about doing something. And I think this is where we step into who we were supposed to be. And I can say personally, I feel like that's what I'm doing right now. And I love when women feel empowered to do that. And so
That's
what it's
nice.
it's so fun to do it and it's so fun to watch other women do it. So yeah, it's a pretty cool
And so
thing.
do you have a registration? What are the dates?
The June one is June 7th.
Okay.
And I do have a registration. It is on my Instagram. So if there's anybody in the Austin area, you can come find us. And I will definitely be posting about the January one as we get closer. And that'll be on my Instagram too. And like I said, we would love to do a virtual one because I think that'll be super helpful for so many people.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on and
you.
sharing all your wisdom to the audience. And I would say to the audience, if you have anyone who's dealing with menopause or know someone or you yourself, please reach out to Karen and just book an appointment and see what she has to say.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah.
know. Your life may be changed
Need
after
to
that phone
chat.
call.
100%.
And she has an event, so I'm gonna post the information in the video. And also, if you really enjoyed it, like, subscribe, follow, share, comment. All of that is helpful as we move forward. When you subscribe, you get the notification when I have a new person that comes on, which is awesome because you never know. It may change your life. That's what we're here for. We're here to help and help people grow, learn, grow, and encourage others and walk through the journey with them. So thank you so much for listening. And thank you, Karen, for coming on.
Thank you.
And we are signing off.
We'll heal every heart. So join us now. Let's make life suffice. Welcome to Mondays with Coach Rice.